in, everyone, to this week's Five-A-Side, a special Five-A-Side of Where Have All the Five Stripes Gone edition of the show, where we will be catching up on where all of our former players are now and what they've been up to, whether that be starting up a brand new team in USL or becoming a professional pickleball player. We're going to hit them all. Promise you that's a real story, and we will get to it. Joining us tonight on this endeavor is a woman who has probably read, I imagine, every single in-flight safety manual there is at this point.
From every respective airline, too.
From every airline. It's Jennifer Taylor.
It's getting more and more
jet setting across the world. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Glenn. Hello, Kat. And a special shout out to Harper, who is, of course, the inspiration for all of our safety selfies for Harper. Because without her love and passion for staying safe on airplanes, none of us would bother to take those pictures.
Thank you, Harper. We appreciate you keeping
Harper,
us safe.
we love you.
Thank you for your service. Kat is also here tonight, a woman who absolutely loves smashing cherries from the top of the table
down. Yeah, I like.
How you feeling?
I'm glad you said smashing cherries and not like popping cherries, because
I thought about that, but
that had a very
clean.
Different connotation to it.
Yes,
but yeah, no, that was good.
4-0 Liverpool to Bournemouth.
And I got to tell you too,
you were poo-pooing on a little bit earlier today, and I had to remind you, Bournemouth, they're actually kind of in form, and you are missing one Mo Salah, maybe longer than you would like, and putting 4 past them and staying top is not nothing.
And I wasn't really concerned per se at the half when it was 0-0. It was really more of a, okay, we're going to go in. Klopp's going to say, all right, now let's turn it on. And
you did.
And it was very much, 2 players picking up a brace each.
Yeah, Nunez
and Jota.
Jota.
Not hating that at all.
Darwin's been good.
He's been better, but one of the things, like I said, he scores the goals that he's supposed to score, and then he's and that's great. What I love about Jota is that he scores out of nothing. The guy just literally, like the one that he had today, was just like he just stuck his leg out and got enough on it, and it just absolutely found the back of the net. It was just nuts. But it was a good day.
Yeah, it was really good day.
Kat, you'll be happy to know that people are paying attention to you, because TalkSport, I was listening to TalkSport on while I was driving to the grocery store earlier, and they've acknowledged that the race this season is coming down to Liverpool and Man City.
Yeah,
so they've already written Arsenal off.
I don't think anybody else is chasing either of us down. I think Arsenal's. I mean, they put 5 past, a very unfortunately dwindling Crystal Palace, and
that was really sad to see.
That's what I'm saying.
Roy Hodgson basically getting old yellered by his own fans.
I felt like it was more of a statement about
looking
Crystal
out
Palace than it was against Arsenal.
With such a resigned face at the banner that the fans were holding up, and
that was a very telling banner.
And then the camera just swings around him. It was really brutal. A brutal watch. It seems like Potter, who I know well, will be stepping in. Not successful at Chelsea, but I feel like Graham Potter might do kind of well at a club like a Palace. Not a big jump from Brighton,
Mm-hmm.
He might actually do well there.
It was just wasn't the right fit there. Moving right along
from Darwin Nunez, who can seemingly score out of nothing, to our first player who unfortunately scores nothing, or at least did for us. He did well-ish for the twos at times, and had some brief stints where he would get into decent form, but it never really happened for him here. And that is Mr. Jackson Conway, who was just signed to the Charleston Battery. Good club in USL. Fun to watch if you ever get down to Charleston. Really fun, entertaining team to watch. I hope it works for him there. Potentially
up to the Battery, because they're a USL team that's been making waves. They finished dead. What was it? Dead last in 2022, and last year went all the way to the title game.
That's right.
Only to lose to someone else on this list, as we'll get to in a minute. But if he's going to be in the USL, it's definitely a team that wants to win, and clearly they want him there. So good luck.
I think he'll feel wanted by the club, and I hope it really works out for him. He's got some ability. It just really hasn't happened for him. I hope it happens for him there in a really big way. Go and have a big year, big enough to an MLS side takes a look at you, and maybe you end up somewhere. I really hope so. So we'll see. It's not a bad place for him to call home.
I apologize for the actual cat noises that are being that are happening in the background. Those are not coming from me, although I have been practicing. I have a stowaway in the basement with me tonight, and she is admittedly upset about it. I'm like, it's your fucking fault.
Big Jackson Conway fan, that cat. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Next on our list, and these are in, I should say, no particular order. They're just kind of thrown in there. But most recently, we're kind of going, I think, with our most recent departures and then working our way down a little bit to one set of long since gone, retired, moved on, or just kind of gone into pickleball. Santi Sosa, he's finally officially completed his loan with Racing in Argentina. I imagine that that's going to eventually turn more permanent, or the option to buy will be executed or something. I don't see him ever being recalled in that Edwin Mosquera type fashion. That is a goodbye to Mr. Sosa. We will miss him, but it not at the level we needed, and just kind of doesn't fit the composition of the team right now. Same thing with one Franco Ibarra, who is on loan with Rosario Central, also in Argentina. Also wish him nothing but the best. He got a raw deal. It sucked. He got shipped off to Toronto, didn't want any part of it. And we were all up in arms about this, myself included. I'll raise my hand and say that, we were all like, what the fuck this summer. But it's worked. It's worked out despite, none of us really believing Carlos when he said, just wait. We have some ideas. We have a plan. And we're like, yeah, sure you do. And he did. And it's worked out so well. So I hope things go well for him at Rosario. Hope he stays there or gets moved on into some permanent spot for him, because it's not going to be here. Who wants to take the next ones?
I think Jennifer should talk about this next guy, because you were a big fan of him when we had him, and
yeah,
he's a big question mark right now. So
yeah, Mateus Hosetu, who I'm gonna have to change my my Reddit call sign from Hosetu's mad. Yeah, I know it's unfortunate. But yeah, he's right now without a club, and we didn't offer him a new contract, and I don't know that anybody in the league is gonna pay him what he was making here. So
I don't think so. Like 600,000. Not in MLS.
Nah,
he's not at that level, and that's not his fault, by the way, either. That's that's Boca, that's Darren, that saw that value and overpaid him, and probably didn't do him any service, in terms of his next contract.
I hope he lands on his feet. I got to meet him last year at the Marriott Diner, and he was super gracious, took pictures with a bunch of us, and then everybody else in the dining room, like, super nice guy. He was clearly there with his friends, and didn't want to be bothered, but he was bothered by us. So,
is he married, or
yes,
he
got married.
He did get married.
To his Instagram, he got married, and yeah, so whatever. Best now, the one that we're all really kind of up in arms about, and it's really not because of a level of play thing. It's really more from a pure aesthetics point of view. Is one Juanjo Purata, who
this one is absolutely a little difficult to take.
Yeah,
he was probably the second prettiest.
Third prettiest.
Who's
third prettiest?
There's Chiseled, and then there's Juanjo.
Okay, there's Tito, and there's
Tito.
Yeah,
Tito as well.
Tito is first for me.
Tito is. We'll get to Tito.
The hair.
We'll get to Tito. Tito is a real life.
You're sleeping on Frankie Blue Eyes.
But Tito is a real life. Tito is a real life Snapchat filter. Like, come on, man. No, it's not fair.
No, because Tito is Giroux level pretty, right? And Air Force One was never Giroux level pretty.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the hair. He didn't have the hair. He was shaved most of the time.
And put Giroux's head on Juanjo's body, and then we would have had the perfect man.
It's pretty,
and he wouldn't be made out of chocolate. But yeah. So anywho, yeah, his option was declined, and he is back at Tigres. Again, great guy. Wish him the best. But wasn't really going to be going to be a fit here because he's not starting CB caliber.
He should have an easier time finding a home than like Hosetu. I would think he's had some great moments. He was and is good in the air. I think he'll land on
Liga MX has bigger rosters and no salary cap, so it's going to be a little bit of an easier time for him to pick up a job.
Yeah, agree.
And then another one that was was kind of painful just again because of the quality human that Machop Chal is, but he is currently without a club, but I think he's got a burgeoning modeling career if you follow him on Insta at all.
Really?
Because, man, is that a sharp dressed man right there? Like
and he's tall. And he's
he wears a suit really, really well.
Okay.
For and he really does have a more diverse skill set from a playing standpoint, and maybe that's what did him in here is that he where we needed the depth was not where he was best suited to play. Unfortunately,
right.
I hope he lands on his feet again. Class guy, great character guy, good in a locker room. I could see him doing really well in a USL Championship if that's where it goes. But I also could see, some tier 2, tier 3 side in Europe taking a flyer on him. So,
you
just never know.
Yeah, he could do well in like the Bundesliga or Netherlands type club or something like that.
Yeah, like the League 2 side of it of things. Yeah, definitely. He could where he's that
and,
level.
I think and it. I know that we're going to get to that eventually when we maybe talk about Miles, but I think going to Europe for the experience, if it's offered to you, is you got to do it. So
worth a pay cut is what you're getting at.
I for me, it depends on the pay cut. I mean, if but it sounds like whatever he was offered, it was extremely significant of a pay cut for him.
I think it was like 60%, and that's got to weigh on a player. And we'll kind of get to that when we talk about one PT Martinez and the struggles he's dealing with.
But
when it comes to money.
Yeah, Miles has got to tread lightly about that though, because if he comes off as being have it being only about the money at his age, that could do him a disservice. I'm just saying, don't be so snooty, man.
Fair enough. We'll get more into him when we say. Who we got next?
We got Ozzy Alonso, a legend in the business, a legend in several countries.
One of the best to ever do it in MLS, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And unfortunately for us, I just wish we had gotten more of an opportunity for all of the 17s to be able to really get a piece of him, as one of ours. That was my biggest disappointment. I think he ended on a good note. We were able to get a couple of, good, sub-ins from him. Yeah.
I will say the Seattle fans, when he went back on the pitch, that was his first match back, and man, the Seattle fans were great to him. Like
he was instrumental in Seattle, and he could have been big for us. Like we'll never know what that leadership what could have been with him, and that's the brutal thing about it. Just that season of unreal injuries, and he got caught up in it.
Yeah, and having him just also sign with us meant something too.
It did.
So that's unfortunate, but I hope he enjoys his retirement. He earned it, maybe he can pick up, maybe he can coach, would love that eventually.
I think he seems to have a lot of love for the game. Yeah. Not someone who's just looking like that's done and I want to go enjoy my retirement, enjoy other things, maybe do pickleball.
Right. Yep.
Keep doing it.
It's very
we're going to get to him. It's good.
Next up is Amar Sejdic. He I don't want to. This is going to sound so demeaning. A good little player, honestly. He does. You know what I mean? He does have some skill. Mm-hmm. He certainly has a role to fill. I don't think it was enough. I don't think he had, you know what I mean? Like if you needed an 80% or 90%, kind of a skill player, he was maybe in the 65 range, like if I was going to do like a rating for him, I would give him like a 65 or something, like a FIFA rating. He's not a bad player. He didn't make, mistakes left and right, but he wasn't exactly like, he didn't blow your mind either. And I think he was sort of a means to an end in a lot of ways for us. And he filled a role. He was a sub of the same,
but not a game-changing sub, not an impactful sub.
Exactly.
A good little player. Someone will come in, kind of do a job, filler. Do some business, but is probably going to be on that like Machop.
I don't want to call
trajectory.
him a warm
I don't
body.
know if
I don't really, you know what I mean? I don't want to just say
he's going to be like.
It's a matter of we can fill that space cheaper and
maybe more efficiently
with homegrown talent at this
point. Yeah,
and
that's and a little bit more efficiently, too.
He's
like
going to
maybe somebody that can be more impactful.
He's going to be like Chol. Yeah. I don't know if he wears a suit as well, but just in that league. Second tier, third tier division, maybe in Europe or somewhere else. I don't know.
I think some club in MLS that needs depth would definitely take a waiver on him.
Okay, maybe his wages are 150, 180.
LA Galaxy is going to do these days to fill their roster holes.
If they want to sign Barry for 2 years, maybe they will take a look at Sadich.
We'll get to him. And then next after that is Justin Garces. We didn't another player that we really just didn't have a place for.
Correct.
Shame about his knee.
Yep.
Another one of those that just got injured, didn't really have a chance to prove himself here, win minutes.
Yep.
And is just now looking for a new home. And players like that, you feel for because it's going to be hard for them to find a home because they weren't showcased, didn't play a whole lot.
Right.
And so now you've got to prove yourself all over again somewhere new. And you got to get somebody to take a chance on you. And it's brutal for him. I hate it, but it is what it is and was the right move for us. Yep. All right. Here's the big one, Miles.
Here's the big one.
Yeah. Cincy as a free agent. Look, everyone's got their opinions, views on why he made this move. I still contend that it only being a 1-year deal and having an option that he's betting on himself here. He's hoping and maybe even expecting a monster year. I mean, a monster year with Cincinnati. And there's some reason to believe that might happen. He may, just pair up with Miazga a little better. He may have a monster defensive year. He may enjoy playing on the grass more. I don't know. Maybe he'll feel more comfortable and Europe will call. And then look, if it doesn't happen, he'll probably stay with Cincy. He'll still make good money, not what he would have made here. So that's the risk he's playing. But to go overseas now, he's being paid probably at Cincy. We did offer him 1.4, 1.5 max TAM around that.
Max TAM was like 1.6 or something.
1.6. Okay, right. Cool. He's probably making, what do we want to guess? Under $1 million at Cincy?
Half that.
800, 900.
I don't think he gets on the pitch for less than $1 million at this stage in his career.
Okay. Well, it's less. Let's call it $1 million.
That's something we can find out. We would know.
Well, the salary, MLSPA will release that later this.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Eventually,
so it'll be interesting. But yeah, I think he's just taking a bet on himself. I understand him not wanting to go to Europe for significantly less because he is coming back from a very serious injury. If something comes up for him again, you got to make your bag. You got to get that money while you can. It's not like some players, they're Jordan Hendersons of the world, who don't really need the money, will go over to Saudi Arabia and just make bank for 6 months and then want to get out. And he did, and that's fine. But I'm not going to knock players, especially around Miles level or even PT's level. Make your money while you can. Your career is short. You're going to have 15, 20 years tops, and you got to make enough to support yourself and your family and maybe generations of your family for a while. And I'm sure Miles that's kind of in his calculation a little bit.
I think also from just, what we see outwardly about his personality, I think maybe a smaller market with less of a microscope on him might be a good thing in terms of confidence rebuild and getting back to that state that he was in before he got hurt, because he is legitimately under much more of a microscope here. It's a much bigger market. It's he was one of the faces of the franchise. So I think there was a lot more expected of him. That's
fair.
Whether you like it, whether you agree or disagree about it, being the face of whatever, it's not necessarily in his skill set. He didn't want to be team captain, natural leadership role, center back, blah, blah, blah. What you say what you want. It's just not something he's got in his bag of tricks. So,
no, that's fair. I think that's fair.
Just a thought. All
right. Moving on to one Miguel Berry. 1 wonder goal a year, contractually obligated. He will now go and ply his trade at LA Galaxy on a 2-year deal.
How did he swing that?
I'm sure he's
I
very
think he
cheap.
did drugs in the bathroom with whoever's running the Galaxy this day, or he had pictures of, somebody in, a dumpster with raccoons. I have no idea.
Hey,
yeah.
he still scored 1 more goal than the next guy.
I think what he did is he showed his wonder goal with us to the club, but he kind of just like photoshopped like different jerseys on him, saying it was for a different team and doing different camera angles, kind of selling it that way.
You can do a lot with Photoshop.
I don't know. Look, if they paid next to nothing for him and they just have a backup striker, salaries are super low, LA Galaxy could probably do that and he'll come on. And what's going to be hilarious is, because he did do well before at Columbus. It didn't work for him at DC. Watch him kick on at DC. Watch him bag like 6, 7, 8 goals. Or LA, I'm sorry. Watch him do it. Be hilarious. But that's where he's at now. And then our other famous non-scorer scored even less, if that's hard to believe.
That's Kubo what I'm saying. Torres. Barry still scored one more than Kubo.
But arguably, I think Kubo had the better chances to score and would just.
Of course he did. That's
nobody loves missing a sitter like
that's
Kubo.
That's what I'm saying. That's almost worse because he did have some really great opportunities that are just like, wow, how do you miss that, man?
Well, now
your name is Kubo Torres.
He was with Orange County for a minute, but he's now with Herediano in Costa Rica, who we've seen before in CCL play, back when we used to play in such tournaments. We're working our way back. All right, passing it off.
All right. One Jurgen Damm, who everybody loves to follow on social media.
Buyout Dom.
Yeah, buyout Dom, who was probably I think you got to call him the worst contractual error that Boca ever had from a pure financial impact standpoint.
But what about all the TikTok followers?
Last season was Atletico de San Luis after a unremarkable stint with Club America.
His jersey is still full price on the website. Like his authentic from that year. I want to say it was like
actual authentic. That's why they swiped it out of his locker room because he never wore
that's
it
the only explanation. It's still, as I'm saying, like his personalized authentic is still like $170. I'm like, guys, you're gonna have to pay me $170 to wear that jersey. Like, what? Who's gonna buy that at this point? They're like, you can't give them away.
No. Another social media and fan favorite, one of our former draft picks, Anderson Asadu, spent 4 years at the Legion, so we used to like seeing him during the preseason. Yep. And he just signed with the Hartford Athletic, who plays in the same league, I believe, as Michael Parkhurst's team.
That's right. Parky's got a team going. We'll get to him.
Lastly, our goalie of the future ditched us for Norwich City.
But hasn't done much.
And still, he was a member of the Vicente Reyes. He was a member of the inaugural academy class. So it'd be cool to see him. Make good on that. But he hasn't played yet for the first team at Norwich, and he was loaned out to Braintree Town.
Everybody knows Braintree Town, world famous.
Which is a team that's even on a tier in English football that's apparently even lower than
Wrexham
was. Where Wrexham was.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know there. I mean, I thought it was just at that point it was basically like local clubs and college teams essentially. Like I didn't even know there was one.
It is.
Got it.
He's basically on a team where, in film terms, meal and IMDb credit.
Yes, got it.
Is what he's being paid.
Yeah.
All right.
Paid in accolades.
Next up, a fan favorite.
Yeah. So, Gresslemania. Anyway, probably one of my favorite players that has ever been with us, Mr. Julian Gressel. Has moved into some interesting clubs and has now gone from being a college super draft pick to possibly crossing balls for Messi in the box.
There's a clear trajectory line there, as one does.
Absolutely, yes. As
we all saw this coming. It's wild.
It is, and what's interesting is that now that he's ended up at Miami, he's not going to be crossing balls back into Joseph, which he could have been possibly doing, but instead he's crossing them to Lionel Messi potentially.
And Luis Suarez.
Yeah, and Luis Suarez.
I miss him still, but I think that we have. I miss him as
I miss Mike Conti's call.
Yeah, I miss.
What
him
you
as
gonna do when WrestleMania goes running wild on you, brother?
I miss him as a personality. I miss, like his story and him as like, like
he's such a good guy.
He gained his citizenship. He got married. He had his kids
does
with him
so
at the field. Everything about him.
So much good on and off the pitch. Yeah. So many charities that he's involved with, particularly with childhood cancer.
Yeah.
It means a lot to him, and I wish him nothing but success.
He really loves playing in this league too.
And he's got 2 caps for USA.
Yeah.
This is a great story. Comes over from Germany, gets picked by an inaugural club in the Super Draft, and has now made his way to where he is now. It's incredible. Yeah. It's incredible.
Yep.
All right, next up.
Yep. And then, of course,
another favorite.
Another favorite who chose us just long enough to get himself a cup. Probably
2 cups.
Well, get himself a cup from us is what I mean,
and a trophy. We got Campeones, and then we went and got US Open.
That's right.
Open Cup.
Arguably,
the man's got a lot of cups.
Maybe not arguably because fight me for a better midfielder in this league in Darlington Nagme.
Nope.
He will be one of the most decorated players.
Mr. Schlitz malt liquor can do for us, but as of now,
there is nobody who can be like I call him the professor because I just don't. He could teach a clinic every single time he goes out there on how to handle the ball and how to control the midfield. There is no one better, and I don't think there is an argument.
There's not.
I've never heard anything to the contrary. So,
and there's
I'm glad
no
he's got
argument.
Himself a cup.
There's no argument with the next player either.
No. And I feel kind of lucky that I got the 3 that I did because we're going in 3s. Our boy Miggy doing well over in Newcastle, and I was never a fan of Newcastle, and I found myself, especially the last 2 seasons, really watching them because they were doing so much better. When they were in like relegation battle, I was like, oh no, please don't, hating it for him. But now they're at least mid-table and climbing, and then they're
finding it hard now being back in Europe, and that's to be expected when you've been away from Europe for so long. You get thrown back into all these extra matches, the extra spotlight scrutiny. Yeah.
But Miggy's still doing well. He's still doing well. When he's on the pitch, he makes an impact.
He's
the same guy. He's always smiling. He's always hustling. I never see him, you know what I mean? Like he's always putting 110% in, and he does that in life and he does it on the pitch. And he's just one of those perfect personalities, those perfect players. And I will never not follow his career. I don't care where he goes.
Well, hopefully we have discovery rights to his kids. All right. Speaking of perfect players, Tito.
But perfect in a different way.
Yeah, jeez, it's not fair.
Tito Villalba.
Tito's eyes and Tito's thighs. Oh my gosh. All right. He's playing for Libertad. I believe still in the Paraguayan Primera Division. There was always little hints and rumors of him possibly coming back. We would go nuts anytime he posts a selfie of himself in an Atlanta United kit, and we'd all get our hopes up. I don't see that ever happening, but man, did we have some great moments with him that at least we'll always have those. The sad image I'm left with him is him after we lost to Toronto in 2019 of him with Pt1 arm around him, walking him off the pitch. Tito came on in the last, I think, 15 minutes, tried to save us. Was unable to do so, and I miss the guy, but it was more of as Jennifer would say, an aesthetics thing than so much ball at the feet quality. Next up, I don't know if there's a bigger right now in MLS, especially at least with us, a bigger fall from grace with Andrew Carlton. I don't know. He's with the Las Vegas Lights and still spreading conspiracy theories in the USL Championship. His little brother Alan is just signed with the two, so he's here with us. But yeah, what a weird one. He spent some time in Costa Rica too for a minute, I believe. He's bounced around lower teams, lower leagues.
He remembered his passport on that trip.
He did. What a weird guy. And next up, another odd one, just not in that same, no conspiracy theories, but just in how his move from his club has gone. U.S. Open Cup hero Brandon Vasquez has just moved to Chivas Guadalajara. Just recently obtained his Mexican passport, which is key because the club has a long-standing rule that they'll only sign Mexican players. Surprising move. Kind of all expected him, like Miles, to go to Europe. Didn't happen.
That he was doing so well with Cincinnati.
He was doing really well. I believe there were.
I'm kind of surprised.
I believe there were Bundesliga clubs that were interested in him over the summer, but since he wouldn't let him go, and I understand that they were pushing for the dinner plate to go with their wooden spoons, and they got it.
Wouldn't let him go to Chivas either. They wouldn't sell him for anything.
No one. So I guess Europe didn't come calling with enough or quick enough or whatever. So now he's at Chivas. Yeah. All right, Trevor.
Anytime you think of doing shots, you think of one Kevin Kratz.
Kratz.
Absolutely, who is our, interestingly enough, he's now the set piece specialist for the club. And hey, not
Seems
what we've been doing, but
that was a great moment, that game with the back-to-back. That was wonderful.
It really was.
Insane. You guys may or may not have noticed that we are much better on set pieces than we ever used to be.
I wonder why.
I think he's got some involvement more than just with the U16s. I really do. I think he's having some words with the first team coaches and players. I'm sure there's some crossover that happens. He's around the club and the training ground all the time.
Yeah, well,
there has to be, because you're right. We're way more productive than we have been, for sure.
And he, in addition to set pieces with the first team, he's also the current U16 coach of the academy. And it is a really great point that you make, Glenn, about, a lot of the former players stayed in Atlanta, that they're having a lot of direct impact community involvement. And it's not just with the club or promoting the club or whatever. It's also, down at the youth soccer level where, a lot of these guys have chosen to stick around and, head out to Inter Atlanta, head out to Top Hat, head out to Tysa and all these other clubs and put their time in with the kids, which is great, which is what you want to see, right?
It's important. Pass it on to the next generation. You have I would dare say you would have a responsibility to do so as a player. I think you do.
So now we're going to get in the real Wayback Machine and talk about Tyler Mears, who retired in 2020 and according to Wikipedia is currently taking a class in studying criminal justice.
Really?
Yeah. You know what though? Good for him. Get that education, and that's not a bad thing. And the first goal ever scored for Atlanta United, one Yamil Assad, who everybody wanted to keep bringing back. DC managed to bring him back a couple of times, but then they declined. Yeah, twice, but they have declined their option this season. So
he's looking for a home.
Currently without a home.
My guess is he goes back to South America. I think that he might have he might have a shot there. He's another really just. He's got speed. He's got some skill. I think he's a good player. I think he just hasn't found the right spot. He'll
land somewhere. He's still got some. So. He's got some years ahead of him still. Yeah. I would agree. Yeah. And now we've got backflip Kenwin. Everybody remember that? It was him and who else has done backflips with us now? I mean, John
now we've got Zonde.
Yeah, yep. I don't think anyone else has done the backflip. I think it's between those two.
But I think Kenwin only did one because how many goals did he score for us?
Once or twice.
So yeah,
he was a big boy to be doing backflips too.
That's true. It is very impressive to make a big form like that spin that well. So that's true.
So we did some. He was a hard man to track down. So from what I can tell, based on social media stalking and assorted other outlets, I believe he's doing some coaching in Trinidad and Tobago. He may or may not also have a fashion line and be doing some broadcasting because he's been tagged in some pictures doing some broadcasting stints.
Tell him to ring Chol up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
All right. Cat, go.
Yeah. Florentine Pogba the slightly lesser known, just as attractive brother of Paul Pogba, currently playing in an Indian Super League. That's great. I think he was a fairly formidable player as far as like his actual physical stature.
Had some injury and fitness problems.
Yep. And again, just another guy. He filled a hole for us when we had a hole as a sub and as a, just as another kind of warm body. But again, he had a physical presence, so I'm glad he's still playing.
I'm just
and
now.
He had some fun hair.
He did. The next player, I'm just now reading the Google Sheet notes on this next one, and it's got me in stitches. Go ahead.
Oh God. Okay, so Mikey Ambrose, CPA, apparently has had himself a child, has been spotted.
That's possibly real, by the way. He is a certified public accountant now. That's real.
Yep, has been seen waiting tables at Brick Store, and probably running clinics in some Decatur-ish youth soccer club.
Forever
it
our
says
Boy Scout.
Forever our Boy Scout. Here's the thing. Nowadays, being an Eagle Scout has become a red flag for women when they're looking for potential mates in men because of what
is he an actual Boy Scout or Eagle Scout?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
He might be. He seems the type.
It's literally being an Eagle Scout has become a red flag when it comes to dating new men. So keep that in mind.
I will say congratulations to him and his wife. They had a new baby last year.
Sure.
Always good. Look, Mikey was always a good guy, and he always turned my friends' offers of beer from the press box down.
Oh yeah, well, he's got to keep the ball for Christ. So moving right along.
Merit badges.
Yeah, John Gallagher, loved him. I liked the potential in him, and he's currently the starting center back for Austin. So picked up an all-star nod. I think he's doing great.
He did, yeah. He's done fairly well, Austin.
Another one we lost in the expansion draft.
Yep.
Couldn't protect everyone, and that one kind of sucks because he did go on to kick on pretty well at Austin. All righty, Larry, Jeff Lorenowitz. We finally have our Larry replacement with Dax coming in. It's freakish how similar those two are, and just their mannerisms, the way they speak, dress. Like, we got our Larry back. I'm pretty excited about that. He's popped up as a color commentator a couple times for the Twos, a few times last year. He's formally joined FC Cincinnati's coaching staff, reuniting with Miles as director of player pathway and development. So another really good guy that's staying with the game, not with us, sadly, but maybe he comes back, even though I think there might be, I have a feeling, a little bit of bad blood there, just with how his career ended here. But I would love to see him come back, but I'm happy to see him still involved with the game. He'll be primarily working with their academy and FC Cincinnati too, so that's pretty cool. Then we've got Mo Adams, a very brief stint, if anybody remembers, at Inter Miami in 2022. It was like 6 months. And then they mutually agreed to terminate their the contract, club and player. And then he went to Al Shabab in the Saudi Pro League, and then he was recently transferred to, I'm going to murder this pronunciation, apologies, to Al Khalil, I think, another team also in the Saudi Pro League. And then our other fan favorite, Breck Shea. So I'm so happy this was worked out this way. We didn't plan it this way. We just said, hey, you do 3, we'll do 3. And we just kind of made our list and went down it. It just so happens that I've landed on Mr. Shea, who is now, I kid you not, a professional pickleball player. He is part of the ownership group alongside, checks notes, Little Wayne. The Austin, Texas Ranchers professional pickleball team in the Major League Pickleball League. Major League Pickleball. It's the preeminent team-based professional pickleball league. I didn't know about this. Research on this episode has been fascinating.
Wait, Glenn, I'm going to blow your mind.
Do it.
Who else do you think, off the top of your head, is involved in Major League Pickleball that you would know?
I mean, a retired player?
No. Active player.
Active player.
an active player of professional sports who is also involved in Major League Pickleball.
Ooh. A
soccer
player?
Not
baseball?
a soccer player, a basketball player. One Ice Trae Young bought an ownership stake. Bought an ownership stake in the Atlanta Major League Pickleball. The Atlanta Bouncers is the name of the Major League Pickleball team in Atlanta, and Trae Young is a part owner of the Major League Pickleball.
Well, we have to take it seriously now. That's fantastic.
I thought I would blow your mind. Thank you for the opportunity.
Wow. Well, you did that.
Look, it's picking up. They've got 24 teams now in this league.
Every hotel I work with in the entire Caribbean region is putting in pickleball courts. It's not just for old people to get hurt doing anymore.
Up the bouncers?
Sure.
All right, that is going to wrap it up for part 1 of Where Have All the Five Stripes Gone. We will be back next week for part 2.